Boomer Sooner.
Hey, Sooner football fans. This is your Sooner football fans podcast. You got Terry right here. You got Rob over there. Those of you who are just listening, not watching on YouTube, I'm on the right screen. Rob's on the left screen, or flip it. I don't know. But anyway, I'm coming at you from the podcast palace. Rob is in the still unnamed dungeon. He's got to come up with something. But go ahead, Rob, your part.
Well, we are not affiliated with the University of Oklahoma.
But we do have eligibility left. Thank you, everybody, for joining us and bearing with us during this new venture of video and podcast. We're trying to meet everybody's wants and needs and joys of watching us and listening to us. So bear with us. We're still getting some of this fancy stuff down, mainly the video. If we could just record ourselves, we'd be all right. But we got a great podcast coming up for you today. We're going to talk a little bit about the Oklahoma-Kent State game, the big victory in Norman. And then we're going to preview the Nebraska game and talk about what fans are expecting to see and what we are expecting to see.
We got to talk a little bit about A&M, don't we?
No, and we'll talk a lot about Texas A&M.
Okay.
But first off, we've got some new partners we want to tell you about. Tailgating Challenge. Go check out their YouTube page, Tailgating Challenge, or tailgatingchallenge.com. They basically just test out tailgate stuff. It's great videos. So if you want to know whether you want something for a tailgate, or not even your tailgate, just your own home, they test it out for you. But they're one of our new partners, and we're going to be working with them to get some new things for our tailgate and for our own domiciles, as well as Tailgate Connect, Dan Donnelly, the Tailgate Ninja, www.tailgateconnect.com, where you can go and attend any tailgate that is on their list. You can pay online and attend their tailgate, and small charges. We had some fans that came out to our tailgate that used that from out of town. It's an easy way to do it. Those of you who are going to Nebraska, the Nebraska tailgate that goes through Dan or works with Dan has one, so go check them out. Also, Oklahoma versus the world. You all know all that stuff. The Oklahoma versus the world. T-shirts, flags, banners, everything goes to charity. And of course, our buddy Demo and Demo Smoke Shack. I'm either getting fat or my chair's wearing out, or both, because I keep sinking in my chair. So, but anyway, that's all of our tailgate, our tailgate and podcast sponsors. Please go check them out. Help us out, help them out. So,
Terry, I got my corduroy throwback hat on.
Your corduroy throwback hat. I can't see it. What's it say at the top? Oh, got the orange bowl. Does it have a little bit of orange juice on it from throwing oranges?
No, but it reminds me of the OU Nebraska rivalry, Terry.
Yes, it is.
I only put it on special occasions. So
there you go.
Yeah.
This game used to be for all the marbles.
Always all the marbles.
But not so much anymore. Do what?
But I digress.
We digress. Well, let's jump in here. And folks, if you're watching, again, I've tried to reposition everything here in the podcast palace. I'm going to do it where I'm not looking up and looking around, but I don't know how else to do it. So I pull up the stats and we talk about stats. Oklahoma beats Kent State 33-3. First off, Rob, what's your take on the game?
Terry, I know it was just Kent State, but I have a hard time believing that Coach Venables didn't have them up for that game, which really leads me to a scary alternative in that our offensive line may not be as good as we had hoped.
Well, what about this alternative? Kent State's better than what you think they are.
No,
they're going to win. They're favored to win their conference. I know it's.
I think they're pretty good. But Terry, don't you think we should have handled them a whole lot better than we did?
Yeah, but
now granted, second half was a different half for us.
Well, I mean, with a minute left in the second quarter, into the second half, it was different. But even Levy took responsibility. Was like, I should have started throwing the ball sooner. You know, he needed to open up the run game. You know what I mean? He didn't throw it to run. He was running it to throw. And I think if they'd have gone to that, I think our offensive line still needs some fixes, but we got the best guy in the world to do it. And I think he's going to fix it, you know?
Well, and even though Nebraska's not very good, I think they're really good on the defensive line. So we'll probably get to see a little, you know, if our O-line just gets handled, then we know we got problems. But if they go up there and gash Nebraska, which they should, because everybody in their dog has, right?
Yeah. Georgia Southern.
Georgia Southern gashed them, so we better.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of the first half. I can honestly tell you, as you know, I slept through part of the first half.
I was throwing stuff at you.
Dude, I had been, in my defense, not just the tailgate, but I'd been up since 5 o'clock. And I loaded the truck at 7, loaded it, we did all that stuff. As soon as my butt sat down in that chair, my eyes closed. There was nothing I could do about it. I mean, they just went, don't. But didn't miss anything. But really the second half.
Not the first half you didn't.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just don't know that there's something that we should take from that. It doesn't worry me like it worried me last year because it's just one side of the ball. Last year it was both sides of the ball this time of year. Nobody knew what was going on. You know what I mean? So, but I mean, man, a 2-minute offense went down in what, like 47 seconds and scored.
It looked really good doing it.
Yeah.
And then that opened up the run game.
Yeah. And I think that's what Levy was talking about. I just needed to back them off a little bit. And they said they did things defensively that they hadn't seen on tape. And Levy didn't adjust to it. So,
okay. Well,
but
we can only buy that excuse for so long, right?
Right. But we had 20 first downs. We were 3 of 12 on third down. That's horrible.
That is bad.
But there's a lot of times though we don't get, in the second half we didn't get the third down. I think I watched the playback, and I think it was like halfway through the third quarter. He said Oklahoma hasn't had a third down conversion yet because they haven't come to third down yet in the second half. 296 yards passing, 134 yards rushing. I mean, that's, our running game was affected.
Well, you might think I'm being difficult, but I still do not believe Eric Gray is our guy.
No, I mean, there's something that they see in him, but what's the other one?
Marcus Major.
Yeah, that's our guy. Dude runs like a beast.
Well, I think we got to see the freshman, the speedster. I forget his name. Somebody's yelling at us right now.
Yeah, somebody's yelling at us. Yeah, again, we're not.
I think we got to see more Javante Barnes, and we got to see more.
Yeah, Javante Barnes, Walker. Eric Gray had 10 rushes for 71 yards. Major had 5 for 38. Longest. I mean,
it's hard to complain about that, right? 10 for 71. That's 7 yards per carry.
Yeah.
But still, I never got the carry out. I never got the feeling like, oh my God, this is our back right here. Did you ever get that?
Nope. I didn't either. I like the way Majors runs. I just like the way he runs the ball.
Oh yeah, I like Marcus Major a lot. I think if he got the 10 carries, he probably would be looking at a better run at.
Yeah. And did you know right now Marvin Mims is tied for first place with receiving yards in the SEC? If we were in the SEC, yeah. He has.
Which, by the way, breaking news today.
Apparently, we're going to be. What's weird about that is today, for some reason, I went, what's our schedule look like next year? And I was like, ooh, man, we got Georgia coming to town next year. That's going to be awesome. Then I looked, and then it was Tennessee, and I was like, dang, we got some games coming up before we even get to the SEC. And then this afternoon,
it's SMU.
It's SMU, the Mustangs.
Okay, so I seen, and I don't know if it was credible source or not, but I seen a cut up of the division in the SEC.
Yeah,
they've got us with Missouri, Texas, and Arkansas.
Perfect.
Are you happy about that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's going to be our.
That's no, I want to be with Alabama and Georgia.
well, no, we'll have to play in, in our division. We got to win that. It's going to be set up to where there's a semifinal to the final.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We're going to have to, if we win that 4-team division, then we got to play somebody else. I don't know how I don't know how it's going to be set up. I mean,
I don't either. You know what though? I think Arkansas is pretty good.
Yeah. Well, this year
we got 2 pushovers, Texas and Missouri. So that's good.
No, but but I mean, they're going to rotate the schedule to where we're playing Alabama, once every 4 years or twice every 4 years, back to back. But we'll be seeing them every year in the championship game. So,
you know who's not liking this at all?
Texas A&M.
Missouri.
Oh yeah. Well, Missouri, both of those two hate it. I mean,
Missouri's like, oh shit, we suck again.
Yeah. And now we suck worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. They got to be kicking themselves. And Texas A&M. Now let's get on that debacle. The giant killers. Appalachian State comes in.
Did you see their little yell practice?
Oh, their little yell
where the dude was making fun of Appalachian.
Yeah. I swear, man. Though. And then did you see how Texas A&M was complaining that those videos were copyrighted and Twitter was taking them off? So people just kept going, finding more.
Yeah. $1.4 million is what they paid Appalachian State to come in there and kick the shit out of them. You gotta love that.
Oh yeah, Appalachian State is just like, thank you.
I still don't even know where the Appalachian State is.
Nor do I care.
I don't know where it's at. Hey, what state or even what region that's in?
Yeah, I think it's in the Virginias, but I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy that it will cost them the same amount of money to fire Fisher as it will to keep him. Can you believe that they signed this guy to a deal that basically he gets his whole contract? There's not the buyout is his whole contract.
Wow. Well, I mean, I'm not going to hate on Fisher for that. That's just smart business.
Oh, I mean, I'm
going to hate on A&M for being idiots.
But no, yeah,
aren't they bragging about how he's going to win multiple championships?
Oh yeah, they made a national, like a fake national championship trophy.
Maybe you ought to start with beating Appalachian State.
Yeah. And they're probably going to lose a couple of more games. So
I hope so. There wouldn't nothing make me happier.
Yeah. Because that is the most irritating fan base outside of Oklahoma State there is in the world.
I think it's down to us and A&M for some big time defensive commit, right?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that was enough to make that person say, oh, okay, I'm going to go to Oklahoma.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, back on the Sooners and Kent State, one thing I watched the playback, Rob, and also, guys, I'm looking up because I've got the Cardinals Brewers game on, so I got to check it every now and then. Defense
wins championships.
Okay, did you not? Okay, this is my deal. Is when we play base defense, we're not very good. I mean, no. I'm not going to say we're not very good. We're average. When we just play our base, it looks like playing our position. But when they call 32 Skidoo, Cheetah, go get him, when they come after you, this defense comes after you. Did you not see that? Have you watched the playback?
Yep.
It's like every third play, I mean, they just turn that defense loose and go do this. And when they want to come and get you, they come and get you. I mean, it is nasty looking.
So you think we're going to do more of that?
Oh yeah,
The better
You know,
competition that we play?
yeah. I mean, I think we run a lot of. I think against, Kent State and stuff, we ran a lot of base defense, and that's fine. Hey, that quarterback was good. I mean, he got out of some stuff, and he's got an arm. But when just one of the things I noticed in the playback that you don't really get to see, live is like, okay, man, we didn't do anything that play. Okay, now it's third, it's 2nd and 8. Now it's 3rd and 4. Man, we haven't. They just the floodgates open. Everybody's in the backfield causing havoc, and when they do that, they are really, 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 really good.
Yeah. Now I don't want to say stuff like this, Terry, but I feel really comfortable with the coverage.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like all those receivers are covered. So I'm okay with sending some blitzes in there.
Yeah. And anything that's getting completed is in front of them. And
they're in front of them, man. They're making immediate tackles.
Yeah. There's 3 guys. It's like piranhas to a pig, a pig's foot. It's like, woof, they're there. So
yeah. If you remember last year when they were running that little 5-yard crossing pattern, a receiver would catch that and run for 25 or 30 yards before we track him down. I'm not seeing that. Well, that makes me happy.
And watching the playback, the announcer said, one thing that you always look at in the stats, and it was sometime in the 4th quarter, he goes, Oklahoma has given up yards, and he said, but all the yards are in front of them because they had no yak yards sometime in the 4th quarter. They are not getting any yards after they catch the ball. If they catch it 4 or 6 yards, that's it. They're down.
And really, we've still only given up 1 touchdown.
Yeah. Rob.
Didn't we give up 1 per second against Tulane or some crap last year?
Rob, it is the 2nd game of the season, and we have 9 sacks. 9 sacks, and we lead the country in tackles for loss. 9 sacks in 2 games. Yeah, it's it is a rebirth of Oklahoma defense, and I think our offense this offense reminds me a lot of the 2000 offense, and I hate or the early Bob Stoops offense. They weren't overpowering, but they were efficient, and I think this offense is going to end up being very efficient and fast.
Yep. I think really, Terry, they're only going to get better.
Oh yeah.
As soon as Dylan Gabriel. Well, for starters, and Sooner fans don't hate me for this. Don't at me. He is not Caleb. What's his nuts with? Yeah. He's not.
Yeah, he's not. He's not that good.
Serviceable. He's good. Serviceable.
He's a good quarterback,
and I think that he's going to get better.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm sorry to say he is not Caleb Williams.
Yeah, and again, he hasn't played for a year and a half. Something like that, or 350 something days or whatever. Well, not a year and a half, but since he got hurt. So yeah, but I mean, the team loves him. They get behind him. Everybody says he's a leader, and that is just the more comfortable he gets, the more that's going to come out.
And I think the better the offense is gonna produce.
Right.
When he's able to hit all those dink and dunk passes, which he did a good job. I'm not saying he didn't do a good job.
He had some passes that were right on the mark that got dropped.
Right on the button. And one of them for a touchdown, right? They just got dropped.
No. So I mean, but that happens. You know what I mean? It
does. Yeah, it does.
I think the difference in now and previous years, especially the last, is that that this coach and this coaching staff have a direction and have a plan and a hard set plan of this is going to happen and this is how it's going to happen. Yeah. And I love what he said after the game. They were like, you were only up 7-3, and he goes, well, halftime score doesn't mean anything. I'm like, oh my God. it does. Halftime score doesn't mean anything. We may not be happy at halftime, but if you come out, we scored 33 unanswered points, for crying out loud.
Yes, but to be honest, at halftime, I was worried. If you say you weren't worried, I don't know.
I wasn't worried. I wasn't worried because I knew they were offensively, they weren't doing anything. You know what I mean? They were moving the ball, but they weren't. When we bowed up, which was regularly, it's just what are they going to do? And when he opened up the passing game, it opened up everything. And and I think that's what we're going to see more of. I love it. Now, for those of you watching, not listening, Rob just walks off in the middle of conversations, and he's back. Don't you have a little lady there that can run and get you stuff? A little bell you can ring?
No. No, but I need one.
Yeah, I think you should get you a little bell and ring it and see if anybody comes running to.
Awesome.
Do what?
I need 2 of those.
Do it. So let's see here. I'm trying to move my mouse around. Out on Twitter today, in our humble opinion, I put out a poll. I said, in our opinion, the Sooners-Husker rivalry was the most epic in college football, a mutual respect rivalry. Nebraska has been in disarray for quite a while now. With Frost fired, what is your expectations for the game? A nail biter, Sooners win, or Sooners blowout? Have you seen the poll? Do you know how?
I've seen it. I've seen it. What, 51% said blowout?
Yeah, it's very close. 51% say a Sooner blowout. 48.6% say it's a nail biter, but the Sooners win. What say you, Rob?
Where'd you fall on that?
You want me to go first?
Well, you know where I stand. I've been saying it for 2 years.
Yeah, and I agree with you. We're going to get the best that Nebraska is going to be able to throw at us. I think the best that Nebraska can throw at us is what they've done the last 3 weeks, and it's not even going to be a ball game. I mean, for crying out loud, Georgia Southern, Rob. Georgia Southern. I'm assuming they're in Georgia, unlike we know at least.
Georgia Southern, they're in Louisiana.
Yeah, we don't know where Appalachian State is, but we know that Georgia Southern is in the southern part of Georgia, right?
Well, I mean, that's logical.
It is Georgia.
Yeah.
They had 409 yards passing against Nebraska and 233 yards rushing. They averaged 7.8 yards per rush and 7.3 yards per pass.
Okay, so in my opinion, one of 2 things can happen here. Nebraska can roll over and die, and we can go in there and put a smoking on them. Or they can say, you know what? We ain't got nothing to lose now. And now we're mad.
Yeah. Well, here's my deal.
Biggest fight they could put up.
I don't think they're going to roll over. I think the best Nebraska has is we've seen it for 3 games. I mean, they're not any good. They're just not. And I don't think they have half the athletes that we do. You know, I mean,
I would tend to agree, Terry,
with all due respect to Nebraska, because I do. I love Nebraska fans. I have met a bunch of them, sat next to them at games. They're great people, great fans. But this is not the 70s and 80s, 90s, and early 2000 Nebraska. This program has fallen mightily.
And what did you say last year? I'm curious. Can you remember? Did you say they were going to come in and give us a game?
Yeah, I think last year. But again, they did. But this is a whole different mentality of a team that we have. You know.
Yeah, well, I agree.
You know.
So I'm really torn up on where I'm going to be on this. I don't know, because it has been my opinion for 2 years that when Oklahoma plays Nebraska, something clicks.
Yeah,
and they're going to fight tooth and nail and give us a game. Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I still want to believe that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to blow them out.
Yeah.
I want who's our backup, Beeville, or the quarterback backup. I want him to be in like halftime. At halftime, I want him playing. But I don't know. Something tells me they're gonna fight, and it's gonna be tooth and nail, and then we're gonna pull off late. Right, it's going to be close for the first half, kind of like this game with the Golden, whoever where they are. and then we'll pull away in the third. And
I mean, I think it's going to be your typical first quarter game. It's going to be a kind of a slobber knocker coming out, but I just don't. I mean, they only got 575 yards. Nebraska put up 575 yards and 45 points against Georgia Southern. There is no way they're going to even come close to putting that up on this defense.
They better not.
They are not going to get 9 yards a pass and 6 yards a carry, 5.5 to 6 yards a carry. That's not going to happen. You know, and Thompson is a great quarterback. They said they wanted him to come here. You know, they
And
were
you
hoping.
didn't believe Appalachian State was going to beat Texas A&M either.
Yeah, but we ain't Texas A&M.
Well, you also didn't think that Texas was going to hold Nebraska to 19 and just lose by
Yeah, well,
1 point.
that was more Alabama than it was Texas. So, but I mean, again, but we're talking about two different beasts here, Rob. Okay.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I get what you're saying. They've got nothing to lose and everything else. But if Oklahoma comes out there in the right mindset, which I believe we have I mean, I know it's only his third game, but we have the coach to have them in their right mindset every game. And I love what, you know, they're staying a mile away or an hour away from the stadium to make them uncomfortable. You know, so they'll be, you know, when they get, you know, hey, we got to get there and get it going. I mean, it's like he's playing mind games with our team to make them, okay, by the time we get to the stadium, they're going to be chomping at the bit.
I hope so.
To you know, get in there.
And we're coming out in the frost whites, which I love. And
no,
I know
yeah.
you do too.
Oh, yeah. We've got the greatest away jerseys of any team.
Yeah, I love them. Let's circle back just a minute to Saturday.
Okay.
Saturday was so weird, Terry. I did not know how to feel. Because on the one hand, Texas was beating Alabama.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, Texas was beating Alabama.
Yeah.
And it felt super weird. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I almost had to ask somebody for, hey, how should I feel about this? Yeah. Because I don't know.
Well, I knew how I wanted to feel, you know, because, you know, I run our Twitter account and Texas fans would have just been, ooh, we beat up, you know, that's all we had heard. And then, you know, their coach comes out, perfect Sarkisian. We didn't lose the game. We ran out of time. What'd the score say when you ran out of time?
That was the first thing I thought of when he said that. I was like, okay, coach, who was winning when the time ran out? Because if you won the game.
Yeah. Yeah, and Texas did. They played a good game, you know. But remember a couple of years ago, they played a great game and they beat Notre Dame and they were back. And look what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, San Antonio, whatever their little deal is, go Birds, or, you know, they have a little, I think it's their Roadrunner sign. I saw their guy on TV. Anyway, it wouldn't surprise me if Texas San Antonio beats them this weekend. Would it you?
You know what? I would laugh so hard. I mean, everybody, and I am included in this, have said we kind of need them to be undefeated when we go and kick their butts. You know what? We don't need that.
Yeah, it's funner when it's that way, but
maybe. No. But it would give me a lot of joy to see UTSA beat them this weekend.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I'm a Roadrunner fan. You know.
In fact, I think all we got to do is go undefeated, and we're in. I don't think we need Texas to be undefeated. We are Oklahoma State to be undefeated.
If we win the Big 12, we're in the playoffs. So, you know, unless it's, you know, unless we got like 3 losses, something weird like that. But I don't think that's going to happen. But I tell you this much too, dude, the Big 12 is pretty doggone good. You know who's in first place in the Big 12 right now?
Kansas.
The sign
Texas
of
may lose to them.
Yeah, I mean, the sign of the apocalypse, isn't it, Rob? I'm pretty sure in like Revelation something, a Jayhawk will rise up.
Coach Leopold is leaving Kansas to go to Nebraska.
You think so?
No, I don't.
No. But I mean, they beat West Virginia on the road. And
that's a good win.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. And West Virginia was driving to score and win it. intercepted a, made a pick six, boom, game over.
Yeah. West Virginia's not a pushover. I mean, they're not a great football team, but it's not a pushover. It's a good win for Kansas.
Yeah. But I mean, Kansas State is looking really good.
Kansas State is tough, but I feel like he may be the best coach in the league besides Brent Venables. Honestly.
Yeah. And I think, he's already addressed it, but I think that's who Nebraska is going to try to go after.
If I was them, I would.
Yeah.
I ain't kidding you. I got a lot of respect for that coach. I think he's really good.
Yeah. Coach Kleiman. Coach Kleiman.
Let's go, Kleiman. You got a tattoo of Roy Earps on his back.
But yeah, he's a really good coach. And I mean, not just for the money, but the money aspect of it, because obviously money doesn't matter to Nebraska because they fired him. They could have waited a couple of weeks and saved themselves a lot of money.
Cost them what, 6 point something?
Yeah, but
6 million or something.
Here's my thing: why fire a coach in them? Did that do anything?
Well, okay, so a whole lot of stuff come out today about Mr. Scott Frost. Apparently, he was skipping practices and he wasn't addressing the team, and he's been doing it for a while. So I think that's why they went ahead and fired him. Now that's hearsay. It came over the radio. I don't know if it's true, but it would have to be something like that for them to go ahead and do.
Unless it was like what Tech did, they fired him. Because if he beats Oklahoma, then they can't fire him. And if he wins, 3 or 4 big games, well, we can't fire him. He's getting better. So I think it's just, to me, it's just weird firing a coach in the middle of a season or 2 games.
Yeah, it's not even in the middle. 3 games.
3 games into the season, but it's they've got an interim head coach who played at Nebraska, and who knows? They can't change a lot, in 4 days, 5 days. So there's nothing I think they're going to throw at Oklahoma that they haven't seen on tape. And God knows they've had to throw everything they've had on the field. So they're not going to do anything we haven't seen because they've had to do it to win.
Yeah, they better have thrown everything they got.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, when what was the game when they play Northwestern? I watched that game. Mm-hmm. Northwestern's defense, Thompson didn't get sacked very much, but he was like this close to getting sacked almost every play.
He's very elusive.
But but I mean, they were coming in free. If Northwestern can go through them like they were and just not getting there, our defense is going to get there. This defense is going to get there. They're going to cause him havoc.
I hope so.
But well, let's reminisce a little bit about, everybody talks. Did you hear Venables talk about the 2000 game?
Yep.
And
I was there.
You got pepper spray too, didn't you?
No, I didn't get pepper spray, but I got a little whiff of the pepper spray. I was like, dang, oh, somebody just got that. Right. I was downwind from the pepper spray.
But what I love
downwind from the goalpost coming down too.
Yeah, he said, goalpost came down, and we don't do that at Oklahoma, but the goalpost came down, and and I didn't celebrate because I needed to go home and get rest so I could prepare. And he was driving down the sidewalks in the university in his car or his truck to get home. They said, all the people wherever I was driving down sidewalks.
Still in the stadium carrying around the goalpost, and he's driving home.
Yeah, that was the game I think that most people, and maybe I think it was that really signified that Bob Stoops was the guy, and that he had brought Oklahoma back to prominence. And all it was then, it was like, are we going to be able to stay in this? And obviously we were. Well,
obviously we didn't know at that pivotal turning point that we were going to go ahead and win the national title from there.
Yeah.
In fact, I was doing the defeat Cobra when it was 14-0 Nebraska. I mean, like, oh boy, I don't want to get beat by. I mean, they were the #1 team in the nation, right? They were ranked #1. So when we put 31 unanswered on them, I was like, hey, we got a shot.
Yeah. Well, We were, and I think I told this story last year. We that was back in the day when Caleb wrestled, and I think it was 8 then. And we were in Shawnee, Oklahoma, at the gym, and somebody had found an old tube TV and set it up in one of the locker rooms. So a group of the dads, when their kids weren't wrestling, we were back there. We were undefeated. I think we were ranked number 2 at that time too, weren't we?
I think we had moved up to number 2. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was 14-0. And I remember, me and a couple of guys going, well, it was good while it lasted. We're going to get better, I think. And I went back out to watch wrestling and everything. And you could hear in that deal, it get loud, people yell. Then you'd hear it again. And then somebody came on to the Overdale, and it was like,
we're running back and forth.
Yeah, it was like 21. Just so y'all wondering, Oklahoma has just taken the lead, 21-14 at Nebraska. Boom, down those steps. I went back into that room and watched the rest of it on the TV back there. But yeah, that was.
Did you see me on TV?
I was looking for you. Did you see the picture that T-Row posted? I was of the goalposts. I was looking for you in there to see if I could find you.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, it was.
But let's do this. I mean, that was a great game, and it was amazing, because I had to jump the wall, right?
Yeah.
Which, when I was going down to the stadium, they got the little gates there, and there was a security guard holding the gate shut. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? He's like, I'm sorry, man, I got to hold the gate shut. I'm like, what if I break my ankle going over this wall? Anyway, I had to wind up jumping the wall. But what I want to say was, I remember that I couldn't watch the Texas A&M game that year because I was at Boy Scout camp with Casey and Michael. We had to listen to it on the radio. And that is the most bipolar I've ever been in my life. Because half the game I was like, listen, if we lose, you're all hiking forever. And, I hate you all. And then when Torrance Marshall took that interception.
Yeah, I think again that was when Caleb was wrestling. I listened to a lot of Bob Berry Senior that year because we were always traveling. But now, and those of you I know we're old. Those of you who are young and you've heard about the rivalry, you can go look it up. I mean, it was you don't. There's nothing that we do now. Maybe the Big 12 championship game is kind of that feel. But every year, it was down to you in Nebraska, almost every year, and getting oranges thrown on the field. Could you imagine what would happen if somebody threw an orange on the field? They would get escorted out.
Here's the thing, Terry. You are right there. Next home game. I mean, you ain't got to throw it hard, and you're going to make.
Yeah, I can just roll it out there, huh?
All right.
Yeah, but it's. Just growing up, and again we're old, we know that, but there were two games you always knew. I mean, we didn't get to see every game on TV, did we? Nope.
We didn't get to hear all of them.
Yeah. But you knew OU Texas and OU Nebraska was going to be on TV.
Yep.
So that was always. And maybe one more during the year. If OU played like USC or something like that, we might.
It wasn't definitely Oklahoma A&M.
Yeah. So you knew that you were going to get to watch that game on TV, and it was almost always for the big, that was our conference championship game.
Yeah.
And
well, and really, the OU Nebraska game always had national
implications. Yeah.
Yeah. Always.
You were going somewhere, when somebody was going to the Orange Bowl and somebody was going to the Tangerine Bowl or the, whatever, insert your name here bowl. But it was always for the Orange Bowl. But, every now and then you'd have Colorado jump up in there. You would have Oklahoma State jump up in there. But and never Kansas State, but every now and then other teams would be pretty good. You'd get upset by somebody, but it was still that game, and I truly do wish I put that when we go to the SEC here in the next year or two, is that Oklahoma and Nebraska figure out a way to make this a non-conference game every year. I mean, it's huge money for both programs because it'll be on TV. Everybody will watch it. The rivalry renewed. Nebraska, we hope and pray, is going to get better. Yeah, and I really do. I hope they do it because it's a great program. It's a storied program. It's a shame. And I don't know that every coach they had needed to get fired. I don't know that they needed to fire Solich. What was the guy that coached with Stoops? It's from Stoops' hometown. They grew up with him. I can't think of his name.
Bo Pelini.
Yeah, Bo Pelini. I don't know that he needed to get fired. He
had 9-win seasons every year.
Yeah, so
they're not going to have a 9-win season this year.
No, and and I think they're kicking themselves because of going. I think the Big Ten was a horrible move for them and Colorado, and obviously it is killed Nebraska. Yep. I think it's unless you can talk about it all you want. You're recruiting kids to Lincoln. Okay. Used to, you could say, well, every year you're going to be on TV, you're going to play Oklahoma, you're going to play Texas, you're going to play this and this. Now nobody wants to go play in the frigid cold,
It
but
gets cold.
Yeah.
It gets cold.
And yeah, it's the Big Ten, and other schools are able to, but Nebraska has been the odd man out in the Big Ten. They're not a Big Ten state,
right,
staple. So it's been hard for them to carry on their tradition in a different conference.
I still hold them as a blue blood status.
Oh yeah.
But it's fading. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I have all the respect in the world for Nebraska. In fact, after we beat them in 2000, there was a big group of Nebraska fans that we had to walk through. We were going back to the car, and I was kind of worried that they were going to be, I mean, I wasn't worried that somebody was going to get lippy or whatever, but what they said as we were walking through is, "Hey, we're so glad that you guys are back."
Yeah,
because we've had some hard times.
Yeah. I mean, that the same thing similar happened to me with a Nebraska fan. I went to the Nebraska game. I think it was in Blake's last 1 or 2 years, and we just got hammered, and basically everybody around me were Nebraska fans because no Oklahoma fans came. It was a Nebraska home, and all around. I mean, they were turning around. I was like, "Hey, man, sorry. We're glad we won, but you're Oklahoma, for crying out loud. You're going to be back. You're not going to be like this forever. We'll have more games." And I'm like, God, I hope so, please, because I couldn't deal with it anymore. I couldn't, but I mean, that's the type of fans that Nebraska has. They're going to cheer for their team, but then they turned around, and especially to Oklahoma, and went, "Hey,
And that is why I still consider them a blue blood school, because only trash schools do, talk a bunch of noise to the blue blood program.
And did you see the Texas, they were putting out the video of the student section chanting to
the Alabama
players, you're marrying your sisters or something.
That's not what they were saying.
I
heard.
Sister sister. And it's like, really? I mean, even when I was that age, I
didn't say something like that.
For one, I was sitting there thinking, if they decided to come up in the stands, then what you going to do?
Did I ever tell you the time I tried to trash talk somebody?
No.
It was at the OU Texas game. I was sitting 2 rows off of the field, and what's the big running back that came after Ricky Williams for Texas?
I know you're talking.
Cedric
Benson. Yeah.
Yep. Started trying to trash talk him. Dude is large. Like his legs. I mean, and he looked over at me, and I was like, "You know what? Never mind.
You're good. Thanks.
Keep on going." Didn't work out for me that well. Yeah.
So, remember that's kind of on. You remember when we were talking, Adrian Peterson and Le'Veon Bell were going to box?
Yeah.
Did you know what happened?
No.
Yeah, I didn't either. I didn't know it came on. Bell knocked him out. There's a video. I mean, he knocked him out. I mean, hit him with a right hand, and Adrian went, did one of those, twitches, and
I didn't want to see that.
yeah, I'm like, I didn't even know it had happened. I knew they were going to fight, but it was, I don't know, it was on one of the something I was scrolling through, and they had their boxing match, but I wouldn't have thought it happened. I just thought Adrian would be somebody that would walk out, and
I wouldn't want to get hit by either one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, Adrian Peterson is a guy that can hold 160 pounds, 80-pound barbells, and jump 4 feet in the air.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. No, it's, but yeah. And, I mean, I guess, pro athletes, they got to have something to do with their time. So I guess, after football, they went into, well, I'm going to try my hand at boxing, but being a former amateur boxer, boxing is zero fun. So unless you're really, really good, and I was fairly good, I've told you before, my problem was I didn't like getting hit. It ain't right getting hit in the face.
I'm not a fan.
Even if that's what the sport calls for, I get hit, I'm just like, yeah, and I got a really hard nose cartilage here, and man, you hit me on the end of the nose, tears come out of my eyes, my ears. It's just like, ugh. So boxing is not a sport you should just decide to jump on into. So what else? What's your prediction for the game, Rob? Let's go ahead and get that done, and we'll.
Like I say, I've been going back and forth battling this. Really, it's really been a process. I think at halftime it's going to be somewhere around like 21-14, and then at the end of the game, I think it's going to be somewhere like 38-21. I know that's not very popular because everybody thinks we're going to blow them out, but I think that's a solid win, but it's not a blowout.
I'm kind of leaning that way. I think it's going to be more like 21-24. No, yeah, I think it's going to be like 24-7 at halftime, and then it's going to end up 45-14, something like that. I think it's going to be.
I like your score better.
I think I just, looking at the stats throughout the day and looking at some playbacks, I just don't. I mean, I know. I think most of the stuff's going to happen in the second quarter and second half, but I mean, I think they're going to come out riled up, but I think they just know, and I know that our guys know that we're just better than them, and we're going to come out and we're going to dominate them.
So do you think that, because we got a bunch of new players, do you think that environment's going to affect them at all? Because that's going to be 90,000 or however many, I think their stadium holds 90 something. Screaming Cornhuskers.
Well, they got screaming Sooners, but the quickest way to shut a crowd up is to shut them down.
Punch them in the mouth. Yeah, no, yeah. I agree.
We come out there and punch them in the mouth, and I just think that's this team's mentality. I know that's our defensive mentality, and I think our offense is getting there. I think that's what we're going to see. It's a growing process for our offense. And you know how defensive players are. They're naturally aggressive. They want to hurt something, and that has been instilled in them. And these guys have come in and lit that flame and go, we're going to let you hurt people. We expect you to hurt people, and I think this offense is coming in as like, we're going to be fast. We're going to be dynamic. And I think I can respect what Levy said. It goes, I overthought a lot of things. I should have went to the passing game a lot sooner, would have opened up that run game a little bit. it would open it up a lot, because you saw when we started throwing the ball, we started running the ball.
Yeah.
But they were lined up. They lined up, stopped the run. Did some things.
I will say this
run.
about the team we did, Kent State. They were coached well.
Yeah,
they were ready.
That's a big old boy too. Did you see the sidelines over there? They look like a group of UFC fighters over there.
Yep.
All had or Navy SEALs. They all had the long beards and Army Ranger type. I was like, dang man, those are some tough looking dudes over there.
They definitely had them ready to play us.
Yeah,
their schemes in that first half were really good.
Yeah, and then guess what? In 2 weeks they got to play Georgia.
Right.
But then they're going to win. They are favored playing playing Washington and Oklahoma, and I don't know. I think they play the left-handed school for the blind and deaf next week, and then they play Georgia, and then they get into their conference. They're going to dominate their conference. They already were runner-up.
If there's anybody left alive, yeah, because Georgia's going to kill them.
Well, hey, Georgia may beat them 33-3. What are you going to think about that win?
I hope it's 23-3. That way we go, hey, transitive properties, we're better than you, Georgia.
So, but yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward. What's Oklahoma next week? Kansas State coming in, a 7:00 game, another night game.
Kansas State's, I think, a pretty good football team.
Yeah.
They like to come here and beat us.
I can tell you this much, is that I am not going to start the tailgate at 11 a.m. next Saturday. I swear, we got up and we played golf Saturday. I went to bed when I got home. I stayed up, talked for a little bit with the boys. My kids were over here, and I got up and I played golf. I went home and watched the rest of the Steelers game, turned on NFL Red Zone, and I was out. And I woke up about 7 or 8, went to bed at like 10, and I was out. I woke up Monday morning and felt like somebody had beat me with a stick. I hurt everywhere. And we didn't go to the coaches show Monday night. I texted you. I was like, I ain't going. Dude, I was just physically drained.
Yeah, me too.
Kind of that way yesterday. So
I told you what happened to me on the way home. I had to leave the game early because I was sick.
Yeah.
Got a nosebleed, and I was on the motorcycle, so I couldn't just, had a trail of blood all the way down my face. It was terrible.
Yeah, you didn't, not that you ever really looked good, but you looked worse than normal Saturday.
I'm still battling it. Still battling it.
So, but today I felt about half an hour, and I just think, I'm getting old, man. I can't just, if I'm not down the next day, it's like 3 days later, I'm like, oh. So, but hey, it's Oklahoma football. We only do it 6 weeks out of the year that we tailgate.
6 home games. That's right.
So
we can sleep when we're dead.
True. But I think I'm looking forward to this game. It's 11:00 game. We're gonna go play some golf Saturday morning, get us in some 9 holes worth of golf, get back, order some pizza, watch the game. And I think we're fixing to I think Oklahoma's coming into its own right now. I think we're gonna see a more complete offense and a more dominant defense this week.
That the defense will obviously make you and I happier, right?
Yeah.
Because we can put up with a whole lot of offensive miscues if the defense is just pounding, right?
If you're giving up, last year after 2 games, I think we'd already given up 35 or 45 points, and that was to one team.
Yeah.
Bad
team. Bad team. Not even a good team.
Yeah. So this team has given up 17 points.
Yeah. 13, 16, right? 13-3.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah. I think you're, oh my God.
13-3. 13 against UTEP and 3 against.
Yeah.
The Kent State Golden
Flashes.
Flashes. I almost call them Hurricanes, but that's Tulsa.
Yeah. Golden Flash. I don't even know what. Is that like a gold member?
I knew it was coming.
Hey, you're the one who threw that into my head last week. Well, I don't know what a golden flash is.
Gold member.
But yeah. But I think that's it. You got anything else, Rob?
Nah.
All right, everybody. That's a podcast. Make sure you're here.
Let's go beat Nebraska.
Let's go beat Nebraska. Subscribe. Hit the little bell thing on the.
Hey, did you decide, are y'all going to Nebraska or no?
I just told you we're playing golf Saturday morning.
Oh, I guess that's a no.
Did you even listen to anything I say in this podcast?
Huh?
That's it, everybody. Boomer Rob.
Gooder Terry.
Hey, hold on, hold on. Bag up, Terry. Put it in reverse, Terry.